Good day, everyone. We are Group 6, and today we will be presenting the things they carried by Tim O'Brien.
Before we begin, just a heads up, this isn't just another war story. It isn't just about bullets and battles, but it is also about the soldiers' emotional weight that they carry, the one with fear, guilt, and love.
Listen closely and maybe think about the things you carry with you every day. Your fears, your hopes, your responsibilities. Because this is what the story is really all about.
Now, let's head to the learning objectives. First objective, we should be able to have a brief look at Tim O'Brien and how his war experiences shaped his writing. Then, we will have a short retelling of the story and its focus on the burdens soldiers carry. Then lastly, we should be able to identify the key elements and symbols that reveal the story's deeper meaning.
Tim O'Brien is a U.S. author and a Vietnam War veteran whose best-known work is fictional accounts of soldiers' experiences during and after the war. O'Brien's most famous work, The Things They Carried, blurs the lines of fact and fiction concerning a soldier's emotional and psychological burdens. O'Brien often writes with themes of memory, trauma, guilt, and storytelling as a way of survival.
Let's make it more interesting with a few fun facts. Fun fact number 1. Did you know that The Things They Carried is a collection of interconnected stories by American novelist Tim O'Brien?
Fun fact number 2. It was his third book about the war, and it is based upon his experiences as a soldier in the 23rd Infantry Division.
Fun fact number 3. Did you know that The Things They Carried was published by Houghton Mifflin in 1990?
Fun fact number 4. O'Brien's story was based both on real life and fictional events and place names, blurring the line between the two as O'Brien both used it.
And fun fact number 5. Did you know that The Things They Carried is written in the late 1980s on Massachusetts, USA?
Now that we are finished learning about the mind of this masterpiece and sharing some fun facts, let us proceed with the summarization of the story.
They carried accessory things that include Peter Tate can openers, pocket knives, heat tabs, wristwatches, dog tags, mosquito repellent, chewing gum, candy, cigarettes, salt tablets, packets of Kool-Aid, lighters, matches, sewing kits, medical payment certificates, C rations, and 2 or 3 cantines of water. Henry Dobbins carried extra rations. Dave Jensen carried a toothbrush, dental floss, and hotel-sized bars of soap he had stolen on R&R in Sydney, Australia. Ted Lavender carried tranquilizers until he was shot in the head outside the village of Tanque in mid-April. They all carried steel helmets, including the liner and camouflage cover. They carried standard fatigue jackets and trousers. They also carried very few underwear. Underfoot, they carried jungle boots, and Dave Jensen carried 3 pairs of socks and a can of Dr. Scholl's foot powder.
Each soldier carries not only the weight of survival, but also the burden of identity and belief. Their gears, weapons, ammunition, protection, reflects the demands of war. Meanwhile, their personal items reveal their inner lives. Lavender's tranquilizers for calming his nerves, Sanders's condoms and brass knuckles for bravado, Boker's diary for reflection, Kylie's comics for escape, and Kiowa's New Testament and hunting hatchet for both faith and heritage. Together, these possessions mirror both their physical struggles and emotional endurance. The soldier bears both physical and emotional burden, his gear, and also the silent awe of what he carries. Amid war's weight, Lieutenant Jimmy Cross holds a small comfort, a white pebble from Martha, the woman he loves from afar. Her words, it's separate but together. Her words reflect their distant connection. The pebble gives Cross hope and tenderness, but it also deepens his longing as he clings to her memory while he is trapped between war's horror and unreturned love.
He had difficulty focusing on the war since all he could think of was Martha. On occasion, he would often yell at his men to spread out the column. But even so, his mind would wander off and he would daydream about his beloved Martha. He loved her so much. On missions on the mountains, they would bring mosquito netting, machetes, canvas tarps, and extra bug juice. On certain heavily mined AOs, they would take turns humping a 28-pound mine detector. Although time was rough for them since missions would often lead them to the mountains or other bad places, they found comfort in their things that held a special meaning or memory to them. These special items are the personal tokens, such as Keogh's Bible, Henry Dobbin's girlfriend's pantyhose, and Jimmy Cross's pebble for Martha. Beyond the physical objects, the soldiers carry emotional weight. Fear, love, longing, grief, and guilt, which were as heavy and real as their gear. Though they were seen as tough as they served during the war, it came with a heavy price. These intangibles reveal the deep psychological toll of war that affected them very deeply.
They all carry their shameful past. They all bear the secret of cowardice that is barely restrained. All of them carried the soldier's fear, which was the fear of blushing. That fear was the reason they were brought to the war, just to avoid the blush of dishonor. Each morning, despite the obstacles, they would make their legs move. They did not decide to take the obvious alternative, but to fight, to endure. They would be limp and tumble to the ground, as well as let their muscles unwind, and not speak nor budge until their bodies helped them. It was not courage, but because they were too frightened to be cowards. On the morning after Ted Lavender died, Lieutenant Jimmy Cross burned Martha's letters as well as 2 photographs. He made a small fire as it was raining, screening it with his body. He held the 2 photographs over the blue flame. He then realized that it was only a gesture and that you couldn't burn the flame. He decided that there was no great mystery and that he hated Martha. In the morning, Lieutenant Jimmy Cross would do what he had always done as a soldier and march.
Now, let's dive into the literary elements and devices. For the plot, the story focuses on the burden of what the soldiers had to carry during the Vietnam War.
For the setting, the story took place in the Vietnam War, in the dangerous and chaotic jungle of Vietnam.
For the characters, the first one would be Lieutenant Jimmy Cross. Lieutenant Jimmy Cross is the platoon leader, and he is also the one being burdened by his own responsibility and guilt. The second would be Ted Lavender. Ted Lavender carries tranquilizers to calm himself down. The third one would be Keough. Keough carries New Testament and also a hunting hatchet. The fourth one would be Norman Boker. Norman Boker carries his own diary for his reflections. And last but not the least, Michelle Sanders. He carries condoms, brass knuckles, and a sense of morality.
Conflict. Internal conflict between duty and emotion. External conflict of war.
The theme of the story are the physical and emotional burdens of soldiers, the weight of memory, guilt, and love.
For the POV or point of view, the story uses third-person perspective.
The tone for the story is reflective, somber, and emotional.
Mood. The mood is heavy and sorrowful, but sometimes thoughtful and calm.
The style of the story is simple but powerful. It uses repetition and storytelling to show truth and memory.
For the rising action of the story, it is their struggles and losses during the war.
The climax of the story would be how Ted Lavender's death deeply affected Jimmy Cross.
The protagonists are Tim O'Brien and Lieutenant Jimmy Cross.
Meanwhile, the antagonist is the war and the soldiers in their fears.
For the motif of the story. It is their act of carrying stands for both physical and emotional burdens.
The irony of the story would be how they carry things to stay safe, but those things can't save them from pain or even death.
The symbolisms include the first one. The things they carried symbolizes emotional and physical burdens of war. The second one, the pebble from Martha stands for hope, connection, and false comfort. The third one, Martha's letter and photos represent love, destruction, and guilt. And the fourth one, Kiowa's Bible symbolizes his faith and morality in the middle of the war.
The allegory of the story is that war changes people. They carry the pain and guilt forever, even after the war ends.
For the moral lesson of the story, it teaches us that everyone has their own burdens. Not just the things that we can see, but also the emotional weight of fear, guilt, love, and responsibility.
And that's all. Thank you for listening.